Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm happy to bring you another John boat video. We haven't done one of these in a long time, and I'm excited to show you what I've done to it since the last video. Biggest thing you'll probably notice is it does have a trailer now. I took a utility trailer, made it into a John boat trailer. It works really well. It unloads and loads really good. So if you want to have a more detailed video on how I did that, just comment down below and just show some interest, and I'd be happy to make a separate video on that. I also added the front light up here. It's got the red and the green on one side, the green on one side and the red on the other. And I've got the 6-inch light bar, just a little navigational light. It is registered now for the state, so I can take it out into public waters. Trolling motor's about the same. The casting deck it's attached to, I did take it and I painted it and then put Thompson's water seal over the paint. So this is very much protected now. It was just a piece of stained plywood, and the stain was better than nothing, but it was out in the weather and it was getting worn. So those two things, the paint and the water seal, are definitely going to help. And I have a cover for it now. Since I have it on a trailer, I can put a cover on it. And so it's really not going to be in the weather that much unless I'm out on the lake. So this should last a while. Now I had this boat spick and span. It was really clean. And then I took it out and it was really muddy because I live on a dirt road. And the mud from the tires slung all back on the boat, like all over it. So that's why if you see any mud, that's why. It was really clean. I mean, the freshly painted deck has all types of mud on it, but it works either way. It's a John boat. It's not a brand new Ranger. So that's what it's for. Another thing I added was the flooring. I found this rubber mat material at a flea market of all places. And I believe it was a 6-foot piece. I'm sorry, it was an 8-foot piece. That's right, it was an 8-foot piece. And I just cut it into sections and I just laid it down the bottom. It's about that thick. It doesn't absorb water, and you can just pop it out and clean it, and then you just throw it back in the boat. It works great. It really absorbs sound. That's the main thing. It really helps with the sound, because you drop a pair of pliers in this, it just makes a huge clang because it's aluminum. But with that, it's a lot quieter. I think I paid like $15 for the mat, and pretty much any generic rubber mat will work pretty good. And it does great. I had enough for a little bit in the front, the middle, and to do the rear, which I was very happy with. No complaints on my end, and it just cut really easy with a razor knife. So I would recommend that for sure. I did move the battery from the rear to the front. That was one of the bigger things I did, because the new motor I'll show you in a minute, it did better with the battery in the front. I had a lot of weight in the back. I'm about 200 pounds. Then I had the gas tank, and then I had the battery, which is like 60 minimum. It's a very heavy battery, and a bunch of other stuff back there. So I did add the battery back to the front. All my wiring goes to the back for the front lights and the trolling motor. So I've had to redo the wiring. I've got the trolling motor done, but I need to do the front lights. That's the status point on that. That's why the battery's up there. I like it better in the back just because it looks better and it's more convenient, but it does good under there. It's got a little storage thing. I got a net, I got a PFD flotation device, and I've also got a life jacket under there. Here's a switchboard. It's nothing fancy, but it's just got a couple switches for my front lights there. I don't think they're waterproof, but they sat out in the rain a couple times and they've done fine. But like I said, I do have a cover for it now, so it does a lot better. It's not going to get rained on or in the weather unless I'm out in the water or working on it. There's my fishing bag. I just have it right there. I took the rods off so you can see the boat better, but I'm trying to keep everything I use on the boat, so when I go fishing, I just hook it up to the truck and then we're out of here. So I do keep my fishing bag on it. As you can see, there's the anchor rope. The anchors run through these two brass eyelets right here. These little guides, they're in the casting deck, and it goes off the anchor. This folds over. If you leave it over, it'll bang the boat while you're going, so I just put it on the deck. The wheel did break. They drained the lake and it kept hitting the dock, so it busted the wheel off, but those are only like $8 to $10, so I'll get another one of those. That's the front anchor. And then coming back here, I've redone the fish finder and transducer setup. I took these blocks off and repainted them. These are held on with outdoor Velcro, and they do great. They hold this paddle in place, they hold the fish finder on. They have little attachment points, which is where I hook bungee cords to my rods, and they lay long ways. And it does great. The outdoor Velcro is awesome. I would recommend it. I use it a lot on this boat because I don't like to drill holes, so I keep the holes at a minimum and just use the Velcro whenever I can. The fish finder is a Garmin Striker 4, and it's a little budget fish finder, but it's really nice to have. It's way better than nothing, and it does the same thing as any other fish finder. I mean, to a degree, they're basically all the same. It's just got a little screen. I do have the paddle just for general guiding things, and if I need to just adjust it a little bit at the boat or whatnot. I believe this is a 3.3 gallon tank, I want to say. It's around the 3 gallon, right at the 3 gallon mark. It may be exactly 3 gallons. It's a Neptune tank. It's smaller. I don't need a 6 gallon tank on this boat, and the extra weight in the back is not going to do it any favors. And really, it takes a lot to go through 6 gallons of fuel with these smaller outboards, as I'm sure if any of y'all have them, you know. I have a marine grade fire extinguisher. I don't believe this is required for an open outboard. If you have like a closed inboard, it is. But really, I just have it just in case, and I had it, so I figured I might as well put it on here. There's the anchor that attaches to the cleat. It's nothing fancy, but it does get the job done. Also, failed to mention, I did add a couple cup holders. These right here. This one's held on by Velcro, and it does great. And the one up here, it's glued into the casting deck. Also have a hole drilled where I can put some pliers right here. You just set them down in there and they stay there fine. And I did add a rod holder back here for if I want to catfish line out when I'm bass fishing or any other type of fishing. And that's just a little cheap rod holder. It was like $2, but it does hold the rod there. So that's what it's for, and that's what it does. Here's the transducer for the fish finder. It's not completely finished. It looks a little rough because I need to scrape some of the excess silicone off. But I have it on the back because I did, if you noticed in previous videos, I had it coming off the side here with the Scotty side mount, which was fine for the 2 horsepower that was on here. But when I got a bigger motor, it splashed up and created so much drag, it would take the boat and take it to the left, and it would splash water up in the boat, and it was pretty bad. So I did want to reroute it to the back. I originally wanted to do that, but since I didn't have a trailer, it would be scraping every time I pulled it up on the bank of the lake. I just couldn't do that anymore. It just hurt too much to scrape up the transducer every time. So now that it is on a trailer, I can load it and unload it without scraping it. I did not drill any holes for it. On each side of the transom, there's a screw there. And so I just took that screw bolt out, and then I put a little bit longer one in with that little piece of starboard right there, and that's how I routed it. If you want an in-depth video on that, just comment and I'll do it. And then the star of the show here is the new to me outboard. This is an Evinrude 9.9. I'd say it's from the 80s for sure, but it's in pretty good shape. It's a little, I mean, it's from the 80s, so it's a little used on the outside, but it has all the decals still. All the gears are in good shape. Everything's in good shape there. It starts on basically the first pull every time. It's been awesome. It does the John boat with me and my brother and all of our gear in it, which is a lot of stuff. It's a very heavy boat once we got everything in it. It'll push us about 15 miles an hour, and then just me, it'll do upwards towards 20. I did have a Mercury 9.9 on here. It gave me a lot of problems. When it did run right, it pushed me and my brother around 18, and then 18 to 22, and then me at around 23 or 24, which was really fast. But that motor gave me a lot of problems, and eventually it just wore itself out. It was beyond fixable. And so I got this one, and this one's a lot more reliable, albeit a little bit slower. But really, I'd rather take reliability and lose a few miles an hour. And then finally, I did forget to show you the transducer box. I'm sorry, the fish finder box. It's just a little battery in there and my plastic bag fish finder screen cover. It's nothing fancy, but it works. And then the wires come out to power that, and then the transducer wire comes up to the back of the fish finder. So yeah, there's my Tracker Topper 12W. It's what I've done to it so far. If you have any questions or need any answers for anything, or have any comments on what I should do, I need suggestions to name the boat. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Leave a like and please subscribe if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.